Hello students, this video will go over the steps for shading your still life. If you have not already completed, the first part of this assignment is to just create the enlarged outline of your objects that you've chosen and to show some sort of overlap. So if you haven't watched step 1 of this video, please go back, stop this video and go back and watch that. I'm going to go into 4 parts and hopefully in between each part I will speed up the video a little so that this demonstration is shorter. Also, I'm going to be demonstrating in black and white, but the steps are exactly the same for color. And the only difference is you can't do as much blending with color pencils as you can with pencil. So this is kind of where we're going in this direction. So with that, the first step is always going to be finding where you want to put your light. Where you put your light is going to influence where the rest of your shadows go. So when I look at this arrangement, I notice that most of my artwork is kind of in this top right corner, which means I have a nice amount of space over here for my shadows. So for this example, I'm going to imagine that this eraser is kind of like where my light is coming from, and there is light that is being cast down and across. I might even kind of move it up a tiny bit because it's coming from somewhere up here and it is shining down. And so the first part, the next step after I find where I want my light, is to figure out where my shadows are going to be. And for this part, there's a couple of tricks. One, you know that your light is here, so it's being shined down, and you can kind of imagine that there is like a little pyramid that is being made, and you kind of take this edge and you just lay it flat, and you kind of lay this edge and you kind of imagine that the light is here. I'm going to find where this box touches the table, and it's kind of coming down, 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 and it's just extending out. And now for this one, I do think there would be a little bit of a shadow coming out of here as well. And then it kind of just fades, and then it just fades. So I'm taking kind of this edge and just imagining what it would look like laid down flat and just a little stretched out. It doesn't need to be perfect, but I just know roughly. I feel like this might be too long. Move my light real quick and just erase. Place it back. So now I'm going to repeat that process for the other two. I'm going to take this bottle and I'm going to kind of lay it flat, and I'm going to imagine that it comes out in that same direction. Now here I have to imagine where the edge of it kind of is. And I know that it's a little taller than my box, so I'm going to kind of extend it. This one looks like it's going to go out of the picture a little bit. And then I'll repeat that same process. The ball, I can't lay the ball flat, so I kind of take a ball and I just imagine that it's coming out the bottom of the ball. And kind of stretching. So I go like this, and then I just boom. And a quick check, I can just go like, I can kind of draw a little triangle. Yeah, it's good. It's good enough. The key is that I know that if my light is over here, all of my shadows are going off in the other direction. So the next part of this process, I'm going to start to shade, and with shading, you're going to slowly build up your values. So I like to start by shading lightly, and then I gradually press harder and harder. So for this part of the video, I'm going to I will speed this up, but what you're going to see when I do this is I'm aiming for a dark for this part, a medium dark for the inside shadows, and then a medium, and then a super light, so that there's 3 steps inside here. For these rounder objects, it's not as stepped, so it's going to be medium, and then it's going to fade and wrap around the curve and wrap around this ball. So with that, I'm going to just speed up the video and meet you back here at the end. And I'll hide my webcam for All right, so we're back. I've got a good base layer of shading. So at this point, the key thing I'm looking for is that I have dark, medium, like in between, and then very light, and I have that for each one of those things. So the other thing I want to point out is I haven't really focused on any details or textures or anything like that. Because I'm actually going to go through and just give it a little blend, and then I will go in. But if I add details now and then smooth out the shading, I may lose some of that detail. So again, I'm going to either use the tip, or I also have some Q-tips here that can help with little tiny details. But the goal is that I'm just kind of doing a light once over to smooth out those pencil lines. So again, I'll pick up the video and meet you back here after it's nice and blended. All right, so now that I've got a general blend, there's 2 things. I'm going to just go and touch up the details of step number 3 before I move on to step number 4. So during this part of the process, I'm going to shift from using the point of my pencil, or the side of my pencil. I'm going to go back to the point, and I'm also going to use my eraser, or if you have a smaller eraser to get into little details, because I want to I'm going to go around and touch up any sort of smudges or anywhere that it over blended. So now that I've got a pretty good range of values, nice smooth blending, I'm going to just focus on the space around this arrangement. Like as of right now, if you were using color, I could kind of color in sort of make this look like a tennis court by putting some green around here, or, a background here. But I think for me, you want to think about this in terms of 2 tones, whether your table is light or your background is light. And you kind of want to think about light and dark, light and dark. For this example, like I have a very dark area here, so I'm going to kind of make my table very light. So I'm going to kind of just lightly, I'm barely touching the paper, but I'm just putting down a little bit of texture lines around, and then I'm going to press harder to get like a dark black for the background. So again, I'm going to just work on those 2 things. I'll meet you back here at the end of step number 4. All right, there you have it. I feel like I've got a good two-tone background. I kept a little bit of the texture down here just to kind of make it look a little rough. You can smooth it, you can keep it that way. It's personal preference. Throughout this whole process, there were two things that I noticed. One, I was sharpening my pencil a lot during that blending part. So hopefully you have a pencil sharpener at home. Two, every time I did a little blending, I would always go back and revise something that I did in the previous step. So whenever you're kind of working, just think about this as a process of like create, revise, refine, change, then revise, change, then revise. So there's always you're kind of slowly moving forward towards a goal. If you have any questions about how to do shadows, how to do blending, please email me a copy of your picture and we can set up a time during office hours to meet. Otherwise, I hope you're safe and well and have a great day.